Any of you ever remember Pandora the Eclectic, Feline Hagbird, The Incredible Egg, Andrew Drescher? What did they all have in common? They're trolls. They believe the lies. I was just a YouTube artist. And Celine, a chubby, bald-headed, looks like beer-drinking party animal blowhard, currently has 17.1 thousand subscribers. Good for him. I don't care. He used kind words to describe me like F-tard, commented on my looks. I always find that interesting when a guy is commenting on my looks. You got to wonder if they are GAY, because I'm not going to comment on another guy's looks except in context when they want to say dumb things about me. Now, that was years ago. He's become popular with his silly fan club. So he's caught in the dust devil of all of that. Okay, Sarah, Sarah. Pandora the Eclectic was a basement dweller African-American girl that had probably the IQ of a gnat, could not form or articulate much intellectual thought. YouTube is an interesting place. And even myself, I look at demographics. Who listens to me? Who do I attract? Do I attract the college educated? Do I attract the suits and ties? Do I attract the ministers? Do I attract the university professors, the professionals? No. I attract people that have gone through life that can resonate with the messages and rants that I put out here. Pacific never claimed to be, and y'all forgive me, I'm doing everything you shouldn't do on YouTube. Blow your nose, clear your throat. It's allergy season here. Yellow pollen everywhere. Went to a home improvement store the other day and the parking lot was yellow. My truck is yellow. The yard is yellow. The streets are yellow. It's crazy. I was looking back. My friend and roommate here was saying, why do these people do this? And I said, well, people do funny things when they don't like what you say. And a lot of the stuff that happened to me happened to attract people who are addicted to violent video games, people who are atheists, and people that love to embrace the LGBT lifestyle. Never once on my videos have I implied or hinted or verbally said I'm homophobic. I'm not. Andrew Drescher obviously had a problem with my faith and the fact that I didn't support on a biblical level homosexuality. Now, that being said, if we Christians are honest, most of us tolerate some sin or another. We get blindsided. We fixate on this one thing over here and say, I got to get rid of this. I got to get rid of this. And they're ignoring all the other stuff that's equally as important. I know a lot of Christians in American cultural Christianity that they ignore gluttony. They ignore looking down their nose at others. Churches are cliques, folks. Everybody that has listened to me knows that I believe a lot of churches are nothing but a clique. American women are caught up in dogs. The OCD over pets is a mental disorder in my honest belief. The obsession with malls and stores and shopping and materialism has made women extremely shallow. The SUV addiction, living in places where you don't even get snow and you have to have an SUV. What I see is American women and American men have been bought by corporate America. Celine Hagberg he's a product of an American culture that is also, just like women, been bought and owned by the Marlboro Man mentality. That shit talking other people is very much in vogue. It has been in vogue for a long time. Instead of people agreeing to disagree, instead of people rationally saying, well, I disagree with Pacific. There was a guy in Hong Kong years ago. He disagreed with my assessment that Chinese in Hong Kong are rude. I never got offended at the guy. My detractors and trolls in the US said, oh, Pacific gets rid of anybody that doesn't agree with him. Total lie. When I lived in Hong Kong, I experienced firsthand cultural rudeness by the Chinese. And when I put out that video, that was my highest grossing video it was over 100,000 views and it was getting 1,000 a week. That was more than anything that Celine Hagberg had put out there. Now, I haven't checked his stuff to confirm that, but I don't think he has 100,000 views. I only had 3,500 subs, but people listened to it. And the comments all the way down the line, I live in Hong Kong, I'm Chinese, and I agree with you. A British chap took issue with that, but in true British form, he was a gentleman. I never, ever got offended. That art has been lost today. American men are losers in the way they debate in the forum. Call me a fucktard, call me an a-hole, talk about my looks, my wigs. Andrew Drescher taking the video of me in Colorado with the chain and rubbing them up my camo shorts, saying, oh, he's into anal beads. I didn't even know what those were. I did not know what those were until I dated a woman in Huntsville, Alabama, who showed me sex toys and anal beads. I'm like, what is this? I have no interest in that. And yes, people and I, human nature, we judge a book by its cover. When you don't like somebody, male or female, you go in for the kill. We're going to comment on their looks. We're going to comment on the glasses, the hair, the way he talks. You listen to Pandora the eclectic, and she's eclectic. There's no doubt about that. She came after me because I did a video saying that even though I understand sexual feelings in the sight of God, lesbian, gay sex is wrong. Gay marriage is wrong. It's not biblical. And I talked about an incident that happened in Oregon where a young man went into a college and shut up the place. And I said, could this be linked to violent video games? Celine and many others like him had a problem with that. And I simply, after all this crap came out, I just simply stated that, guess what? Look at the way they're acting. Now, granted, they're not coming over and shooting me, but they could do that. But their speech, I disagree with Pacific, and here's why. They didn't do what the British chap did. They didn't put out anything that proved that I was wrong. They reacted much like the Democrats do, resorting to name calling and lying. Folks, the more you live in America, the more you use the mind that God gave you. And I am different. There's no doubt about it. I am not the norm. I accept that. But the older I get, I don't care. I don't want to be cool like Celine or Incredible Egg, a nameless, faceless person who just left dumb comments, or Ag Gillespie, some screwball that fried out half his brain. He got angry because I wouldn't bow to him, because I wouldn't group hug him, leaving comments, oh, I love your nipples. That's disturbing. Why would you put that on here? And when you listen to these people, my forum is just that. It's a forum. Agree, disagree, keep it moving. Ed Gillespie, want to say Pacific never listens to me. Why would I? Why would I? In the last 4 years, I have been on a journey to my own manhood, and I have done some things that I have not done. I'm not going to talk about them here, but I took on some big, big challenges for me, and it has been hard. But I'm not the same person I was in Colorado, not even close. And when I see our world spinning out of control, especially in Bidenomics, I'm going to comment. I'm going to say things. And it's not that I think I'm big and mighty. I just believe in laying it out there. I could care less about a Celine or a Pandora. They're entitled to their views. They're entitled to believe whatever horseshit they want to believe. I don't care that their channel or Celine's is more successful than me. It doesn't matter to me. I don't make money off of this. I go to work every day. When you listen to YouTube artists, there's a lot of ego. I was a pioneer in one regard and one regard only. I was raw. I was original. I put myself out there. Celine's a blowhard. Pandora the Eclectic needs deep psychological help and a proper education. I mean, there's nothing else that can be said. Andrew Drescher, I'm going to refrain from saying what needs to happen to him. But the guy is a troll. And I don't care what anybody says. Those are disturbed individuals when they take the time to do a video laughing, mocking. And I said it before. When you study the attributes of God, you got to study the attributes of Satan, the accuser of the brethren, mockers. I'm mocked, but I try to mock based on truth. Celine and others mocked based on their opinion. Celine hears a message about me talking about violent video games and why I don't support them. Maybe he's feeling convicted, whatever. But his response proved everything I was saying. Calling me a fucktard, saying idiot, loser, shirtless lunatic, blah, blah, blah. And then he kept on even after I had pulled away. How did a video of me talking about a link between video games and possible public shootings set somebody off so much? If you're not violent and you're such a good person, you just go, oh, I don't agree with this guy and click the red X and move on. But no matter what these clowns say, the level of attack, the level of trolldom that went on, the fact that you got to keep going and keep going and keep going, and you cannot offer any intelligent thing. I play video games, and I don't believe that violent video games that they're the platform that gives rise to violent crime. Okay, let's lay it out. Let's do science. Let's do studies. Let's do data. Okay, let's do that. Celine didn't do that. He's a blowhard. And I mentioned this 9 years later, or however many years later, because this is the segue. If I don't throw the clothespin, this is a segue to the country's state of mind currently. I went and filed my taxes yesterday. Did not get the refund I thought I would. I should have gotten more than the year before. I earned more last year, or I filed for higher earnings and got a greater refund. This year, I get a much lower refund. So, and it had my gross thing because I had left one job and went to another, which I took a pay cut. Biden is taxing you and me. Look at your gas. I'm a homeowner. Look at your utilities. Look at your property taxes. Look at your food bill. Go to Walmart every week and watch the prices just keep going, going. How could anybody vote for Biden? A clown that gets up and says, I've created this many jobs. The guy has lost his sharpness. This is a guy who ran a campaign saying he could do more push ups than Donald Trump. Yeah, that's what we want in a leader, right? And I'm going to tell you something. Joe Biden couldn't do what I do. Joe Biden could not remodel a house. Joe Biden couldn't live the way I live. Joe Biden would not go to where I went. Joe Biden would do the jobs I've done. And Joe Biden does not have the influence that I have in the world around me. Joe Biden is a wrecking ball. He's a puppet of the left and the radical support base. And I'm going to be honest, I don't like Joe Biden. I don't like Nancy Pelosi, AOC, Ilhan Omar, Clintons, any of them. But you notice you don't hear from Bill. You don't hear a whisper from the guy. You hear about Hillary, a battle axe of a woman that I can't help but ask the question, why did anybody have sex with her to begin with? Why did anybody have sex with Pelosi? Why are we creating more and more Democrat spawn that hate this country, hate the Constitution, hate the flag? I don't know. It's a good question. Why do we got Mexican men, punks, with their girlfriend, their wife, and a baby doing a video saying, oh, I can't wait to get into America. I'm going to invade Americans' homes. I hope any of them that attempt to do so, I hope Americans will give them a 24-gun salute and end their madness right now. I don't know about you, but I'm getting tired of the crap that this Biden administration is allowing. There was an article in the news saying that stores, major stores, are closing down in blue areas in droves. San Francisco, Portland, Baltimore, Walmarts are closing because of all the black theft. And good old Zucky and Facebook said, this is partly false. Partly? Partly. Does Zuckerberg pay attention to any of the news beyond CNN? Zuckerberg and his Asian wife holed up in their mansion sitting on billions of dollars. We're going to listen to him as an expert on truth, making his money censoring the hell out of people, making his money pushing a narrative that is just ridiculous. And Zuckerberg is not an intellectual by any means. If he can't look at the facts, San Francisco has shut down almost every store in the nice shopping district because of all the theft. You know, in LA, the governor, the loser nuisance governor of California, you're allowed to steal up to $900 worth of stuff before the police will even be called. And you see clowns and thugs running into Walmarts and Macy's and walking off with everything. People who own businesses said, you know what? We're not doing this. Walmart CEO a couple of years ago said, I'm raising prices due to all the theft. Way to go, CEO. Punish those of us who are being honest and paying for it. How many Republicans you see out there? How many conservatives you see out there stealing, looting, and tearing stuff up? Every city that goes full-scale riot is dominantly Democrat. Minneapolis, Portland, Seattle. Baltimore years ago, they caught a black security guard involved in the looting. That's nice. Biden and people that support him are not what I call intelligent. They're foolish. A black man said, I'm voting for Biden because I'm a public school teacher and he's going to give us raises and bonuses. How selfish of you. An education system punctuated with anti-God, pro-trans, pro-LGBT, accepting everybody else. And then through critical race theory, started by a feminist woman off the New York Times bashing white people. And I'm going to say something, and I'm very harsh on our culture because our culture has been harsh on me. But Caucasian culture has given more good to the world, technologically, in the arts, music, literature, buildings, masterpieces, architecture, rational thought, sanity, decency, than any other culture in the world. If you don't believe me, take African American culture and ask what they brought to the world that we depend on every day. Zero. Sports, entertainment, music, we can do without that. There's plenty of Caucasians that have good entertainment. And moving to a place where it's predominantly black, I find myself going back to my own culture and going, you know what? My life matters. Living in a place that is predominantly Democrat and, black domination, where I live, whites only account for 35%. Blacks are well over 50% here. And you look at their homes with a tarp, 7, 8 vehicles in the yard, most of them not running, mold and mildew and collection of leaves and pine needles on it, broken stuff in the yard. Kids just lay their bikes 2 blocks down and walk off. And you see spray paint and you see graffiti and you see crime and you see drug dealing and yet these are the same people yelling their hatred towards Donald Trump. Back to my trolls. I do have to say something. It's been years. None of them produced anything of substance. And I had to learn. There was a woman in Yugoslavia named Anne, very beautiful, was a slut tease to me, sent picture after picture. If I came there, would you marry me? Well, sure, yeah. And when Andrew made his classic Pacific I Win video in Hong Kong, she's right there in the comments saying, wow, what a beautiful background. Unfortunately, all of us in many ways can be slow to learn. And I realize, just like Maharani stated years ago, be careful who you allow on your ship. They could be the very one poking holes in it. Yes. And Maharani was involved with that and involved with good old Andrew Drescher. Andrew Drescher, Incredible Egg, Celine, Pandora, never once came back with any intellectual slam bam proof that I'm wrong. They just resorted to name calling and profanity and stupid stuff. My channel has content, and I don't consider myself perfect, but I speak of what I believe is the truth. Pandora, she doesn't have the cognitive brain capacity to realize that she makes herself look like a complete uneducated, I don't know what, on YouTube. The purpose of my channel was for me to try something, to come out, to speak. I like to talk. Pandora admitted that. All he does is talk and talk and talk. And all you do is fixate, fixate, fixate on how much you hate me. And then there was that crazy woman with the cat on the coffee table or the dining room table or whatever. Where is she? What happened to her? And then I heard that Andrew and her got into it and he ran her off and she pulled her channel. And it was interesting to note how many IDs Andrew made, one after another, Robert House, and all these dumb, guys like that have time on their hands more than I do to do and do and do and do. And his supporters and his fan club, Ag Gillespie, the Incredible Egg, and other blithering fools that just left dumb, rude comments. No photos of themselves, can't see what they look like. They don't put themselves out there. They're the cowards that hide behind a computer screen and a keyboard. And I don't have a problem with people saying, man, I don't agree with you. No problem. Have a nice day. That's what America's about. But when you see the troll behavior of Celine and others, how'd you like to live in a universe or a country ruled by them? They don't like you, so they're going to come and shoot you. Celine proved that playing violent video games lends itself to just rude, obnoxious behavior. You don't agree with Pacific, so call them a fucktard and a retard and on and on and on. That's winning the argument, right? People who love violent video games, I'm going to question them on any level. At what point does role playing get boring and you suddenly want to take it to the reality level? That's my question to them. And why anybody who supports playing Car Theft San Andreas and violent video games is going to turn around and attack me is proof that they're butthurt. They don't like what I said. And now we're going to resort to violent, verbally abusive speech. So my point was proven. Does playing violent video games lead to school shootings and mall shootings? Not sure, but I think that it's probably a pretty good push in that direction. And Celine, instead of saying, well, there's no statistics to support that, Pacific. Okay, show me. Show me. Ignorant, dumb, foolish people buy into the trolls. There's something called the alpha complex, and it exists among men and women. It exists in the animal world and it exists in the human world. Will Steger is a man who lived in Ely, Minnesota years ago. He raised sled dogs, bred them, and he is known for sled dogging across the entire continent of Antarctica and sled dogging the North Pole. He talked about the sled dog team, that there is a husky, there's a sled dog that will assume authority over the others. And all it has to do is turn around and growl and bark at the others, and the others get in subjection. Celine, Andrew have that effect on spineless people who hide behind a keyboard that like a good fight. But it's not a good fight. It's garbage. It's complete, insane garbage. Laughing, mocking, cussing, commenting on my looks, commenting on this, when you have no intellectual content whatsoever. Andrew Drescher keeps uploading my videos. He has an obsession for Pacific. Maybe he gets a boner over looking at me. I have no idea. The thought is cringe. I see it in every workplace I work with. Obnoxious, rude, bad example employees in the female sector have a following. Their following won't ever say anything bad about them. Pecking order. Have you ever heard of the dynamic of three? An atheist friend and boss of mine years ago in Colorado asked me. I said, no, I haven't heard of the dynamic of three. He says, you get three people together. Two of the stronger ones will eventually gang up on the weaker one. Started thinking about that. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're weak, but if you carry yourself in such a way that you don't want confrontation, and they're going to turn on you, even if you're all friends. Two will gang up on the one. It's a reality. When we live in a culture like America and men have been raised on whatever horseshit they've been raised on, I for years talked about the definition of a man is not having a lift kit and a Coors can and a gun and one hand draped over the steering wheel and revving your engine and squealing tires in an intersection. That's not the definition of manhood. But when most men think that it is and they exemplify that, and research is coming out more and more that men that got to make all that noise with their trucks and their cars, and this goes for black men with their loud bass, probably have a push pop for a penis. Why are grown men feeling the need to act out in traffic? You got minivan moms, you got businessmen, they could care less about you and your cold rolling hoopty. But you're going to make as much noise and make a statement because I want attention today. Then the devil runs in these people. When people resort to vitriolic attack and do the things that Andrew and Celine and others did, they simply prove who their master is, the devil incarnate in them. And I say that because if you don't agree with me, why can't you move on? But then you go on and fixate and fixate. They didn't like it when I commented on them. Did not. They think they're macho. They think they're cool. They think that they're right on in the mind. Yeah, America will give anybody that illusion. We had wagon trains head out to a piece of real estate that came to be known as Utah with a group of sorry people that believe the wrong crap. Mormons. You got people that go to Kingdom Hall that believe the wrong crap. You got people that go to Mecca that believe the wrong crap. You got women like Oprah. She thinks she's a goddess and a guru. She made most of her money off white women, but then says that whites are privileged. This is coming from a woman who owns 8 or 9 mansions, one of them at the price tag of $90 million in Montecito. This is a woman who supports the Democrat left. This is a woman who supports the Democrat left and their green agenda. How is Oprah Winfrey saving the environment by buying 8 mansions and having servants and living her selfish, gluttonous, and look at her body? How'd you like to sleep with that, man? But Oprah has that alpha mentality where a lot of dumb women get up underneath that. This is a reality. I've seen it in chat rooms. There's some bully in there yelling and being bellicose, and everybody's afraid to say anything because don't want to get booed. And I come in there and I said, "Man, shut up, Gurr. Little innocent Gurr, a 400-pound man, Bakersfield, California, who dressed up as a clown for children's parties." I'm going off what he said on the mic, and he had a booter thing where he could boot you out of Yahoo chat unless you got on Yazak. Oh, those were the good old days of Yahoo, right? The guy was a loser. The people cowered. And I just said, you know what? You are a blowhard. Oh, I'm going to come up there to Spokane. I'm going to kick your butt. Come on, buddy. You'll be like the grizzly bear, and I'll be the Wolverine running around you 20 times, and you're trying to get at me and swat, and you finally give up because you're getting exhausted and you can't get me. I said, what was your exercise today, dude? What did you accomplish today? How many times you actually get up out of your computer chair and go to the toilet and the fridge? And I did attack them. Little innocent Gurr didn't stand on truth, didn't stand on substance. He was an internet blowhard. And I discovered something. The internet is a habitation for some very messed up people that are legends in their own mind. And many tried to accuse me of that. Many. I'm not a legend in my own mind. I am painfully and acutely aware that I'm not the cat's meow. I knew that way back when I was a child. But I also learned through Christian faith and through what the Bible teaches. It says, marvel not that the world hates you. You are not of the world. If you were of the world will love you. That's why Celine, Incredible Egg, and Legatus have a following. They're lost souls. And of course, birds of a feather pigeon together. And you can have a pretty large following when you're of the world. Look at Oprah. Look at her bank account. Does that mean she's right? Does that mean she's godly? Does Celine having 17,000 people following him, does that mean he's right? Does that mean he's godly? Does that mean he actually stands on integrity and truth? No. It just means that he has a following. That's it. Same thing can be said about me. Andrew Drescher said years ago, your fans aren't going to stand up against me. He's right because nobody knows where he is. The guy doesn't put his information out there. American men come off cocky. They immediately, I'll kick his ass. Oh, that makes you a man. You don't agree with somebody and you're just going to kick their ass. Okay. I was attacked because I'm genuine. Whether you agree with me or not is irrelevant. But when people came after me the way they did, there was nothing that warranted that. Ed Gillespie got butthurt because I didn't want to be his friend, because I saw the stupid comments he was making. Pacific never listens to me. Why should I? You admitted to me in a personal letter, you said that you blew out half your brain on drugs. Why am I going to take counsel from you? My channel did attract gay men. It attracted atheists. It attracted some Christians. It did not attract the beautiful, hot women. It didn't attract the suits and ties and the professors and the collegiate type people. It attracted some strange people, to be honest with you. Does that mean I'm strange? It depends on who's defining it. When you think for yourself, when you wear what you wear, when you do what you do, and you don't fit mainstream, everybody's going to think you're strange. That's a given. But does it mean I'm strange, or does it just mean I'm different? Only people with maturity, discernment, and real intellectual prowess can say, Mike's not strange. He just doesn't walk lockstep like everybody else. And Celine and others are legends in their own mind. You got people making money off YouTube. That's easy. You can sit on your butt and talk. But I worked harder than that in many ways. And all the bravado and all the bragging and the boasting and the tough talk that I've heard from these clowns over the years, none of them work hard like I do. None of them have faced what I have faced. Growing up in the home life that I grew up in, I got news the other day that the father who adopted me has passed away. I was numb when I heard it. No emotion. I have felt the sting of rejection. Even my own mother constantly putting me down. And I was dumb. And most Americans are dumb. We keep coming back for more. We come back for more. I have no respect for the woman who adopted me. She was horrible to the man that just passed away. She was horrible. He went to work every day. She didn't like the house and they wanted to move. They moved. He accommodated her. She wanted to adopt 2 kids. He let her do it. She wanted 4 dogs, 2 goats, 3 cats. He let her do it. And the only thing I can say positive about my dad is it saddens me that he didn't get to live. He was a simp. He gave in to his wife, who was very immature and still is, in denial, hiding behind a religious edifice, thinking she's going to earn favor to God. They're not going to reach out to me, not her natural born daughter, not the cousin who's a complete narcissist. The women in my family are what gave rise to me talking about Western women. And oh, by the way, as a caveat here, or no, actually a sidebar freebie, all of those women were conservatives, all of them claiming to be Christian. One is not. She's a Mormon. The other's not. She's a Catholic. I grew up under my mother. There is no fruit that would prove that she's a born again child of God. When I became a Christian and I was just learning about the faith, my mother was attacking me. I didn't come home preaching at her. She would deride and make fun of me. And it took me years to realize the fact she's attacking you even worse than she did is proof that she's in Satan's kingdom. Now, I am not, thus saith the Lord. I don't believe that everything that comes out of my mouth has God's stamp of approval on it. I don't. I don't care if Celine has a successful channel. I don't care if he disagrees with me. I really don't. But no one's going to sit here and tell me, oh, he showed Pacific. He was a troll. He was an asshat. He had nothing intellectual, nothing. All he did, this is yeah, you're acting like Beavis and Butthead. My point is made. Okay, maybe you won't go out and shoot up a place, but all you can say is I'm a fucktard, I'm a fucking idiot. I mean, that's not content. With dumbass American males that are used to that kind of behavior, they'll think you're cool. But intellectuals, people who have discernment, people who know about debate, they're going to look at you and go, what are the odds? That's all that can be said. The internet is a great place for people to hide with no consequences. And it was funny. People were talking about the women I had dated or got involved with in Asia. Oh, Pacific's girlfriends were all ugly. Coming from people that never had their face out there. And they're not going to. Do you know why? Because they're fugly men. They're probably this big, probably can't get a girlfriend. I haven't dated in 6 years. It's been the most liberating experience. I've been involved in projects and other things. It needs to be said that trolls will always be there. The internet, Google doesn't do anything about it. Unless you talk about spherical heating or election results, then you get a sticker and all these quote fact checkers. Zucky the other day decided to blast a news article. This is partly false. Oh, wait a minute. You're saying a news article is false? Since when did Zuckerberg become a journalist and he knows the truth about something? And the article said that stores are closing in giant, large record numbers in mostly blue Democrat areas. And the partly false claim is that is not true. Really? Have you not heard the news? Even CNN and others are blasting out that San Francisco and, people are pulling out of nice areas. Shop owners in downtown Seattle moved up to Bremerton. They said, man, I can't do business down there. There's homeless outside my door, hypodermic needles. They harass customers coming to the store. Nobody wants to shop with that going on. So I don't care what trolls and Democrats say. They're liars all. And the Democrats have a Democrat dystopia that my take-home pay has been severely handicapped by the Biden administration. And they're pumping billions and trillions of dollars into foolishness, the Ukraine. Why are the Democrats all behind the Ukraine? Why are the Democrats did not offer to help Cubans who wanted to come here or have their communistic government overthrown? Oh, Biden was silent about that. But the Haitians are flooding in as their country implodes, and they're bringing their violent, barbaric ways right here. Mexicans are rioting on the border, overwhelming the National Guard in Texas. The Supreme Court overturned the crap that Biden did and said that Texas has a right to defend itself. This is an invasion. They can arrest them, they can deport them. And a federal judge says, oh, I'm going to overturn that. The Democrats are the Salines, the Andrew Dreschers, the Pandora the Eclectic. They're just bullies. They're going to get their way. And when they get in power, they're going to fuck with your life. The Democratic Party is not good for us. Everybody in the Democratic Party on Washington makes more money than they should, is sitting on piles of wealth. They're not saving the environment. They're not conserving anything. And they're telling you that you got to drive an electric vehicle and get an electric leaf blower and an electric lawnmower, and you don't have the freedom of speech they have. And they do not want you to have the money or the good life that they have. They do not want you to have the health care that they have. They did not submit themselves to Obamacare. When you look at trolls, when you look at Democrats, they're the same. They're all under the umbrella of Satan. And just as a Christian is supposed to have fruit, and I'm going to use a caveat because I don't always, and a lot of Christians, we don't always show perfect walk in holiness. We don't. Because we're sinful human beings. And God's not done with us yet. It's not like Frosted Lucky Charms are magically delicious. When you become a Christian, it doesn't zing, wow, I'm super Christian. But you can tell people that are in the devil's camp, insulting, swearing at somebody, laughing, mocking, not with facts, not with truth, just blowhard BS. And Americans are really good at that. I've been looking at deuce and halves. I saw a truck advertised for $11,500. It's got sand tires, so instead of having the 10 wheels, it's got 6. This thing is a beast. It's got the 6-cylinder diesel multi-fuel engine, standard transmission, cabin truck looks good, no rust, paint's beautiful, windows, there's been some new things, and I called a guy on it. Go look at used pickups. Go look at Marketplace or Craigslist or your local flyer. You can't even get a good used pickup for under $10,000 that isn't full of problems, at least where I live. You can't get a long bed anymore unless you buy an old wreck of a truck. The bed on this is 8 feet wide and 12 feet long. I can haul in sand and gravel, railroad ties. If I cut down a bunch of trees, I can load it up and drive to the dump. The bad thing is they're 8 to 10 miles a gallon and fuel's at $4 a gallon for diesel here. Some of mine says, well, get rid of the pickup and just do less driving. My friend said, shoot. And I said, well, what if Biden wins? Did I make a mistake if I buy that? Because he's trying. Do you notice the Democrats are trying to destroy your way of life? They're taxing electric while they want you to go electric. They increase the taxes on the power companies. People like Pandora the Eclectic, Celine, Andrew Drescher would vote in fools like that because they're lacking something here. You're going to vote in a man who's telling everybody to go electric, but then let's penalize the electric companies. Makes sense, right? My friend said, get the truck. Whether Trump wins or Biden wins, if Biden wins, you may need that thing. I said, oh, should I put a gun mount on top of the cab? This is the kind of dumb world we live in. Why are the Democrats so hell-bent I can't drive what I want. I can't live the way I want. And they're going to tell me what to believe. They're going to force CRT, critical race theories, in the public schools, which is all BS. And my channel is not about me being a star. It's just about me venting, talking, ranting, and giving people food for thought. I would hope I could reach Democrats. Let me tell you the hardest people to reach, folks. Let me tell you the hardest people to reach: cults, Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses. And they have a lot in common with the African American community within the continental United States. And notice, I'm going to say, for all intents and purposes, definitions and terms. Africans in Africa are not the same as African Americans. African Americans have absolutely nothing in common with Africans in Africa. They like to wear the traditional clothing. Pelosi did all that. That means nothing. I have friends in Africa. They live in Zambia, Kenya. They know 3 languages. They're beautiful. They dress nice. They grow gardens. They own homes. Professionals. Nothing like the crap I see around here. Nothing. Not all African Americans are like this, but a lot of them are GHETTO. A lot of them don't know how to speak right. A lot of them refer to Ebonics. A lot of them are emotionally driven and not logic driven, especially when it comes to their alliance with the Democrat left. You cannot, as a white person, cannot reach an African American who's a Democrat. They will treat you the way a Mormon treats a non-Mormon. Well, if you want to know what a Mormon believes, you have to ask a Mormon. I wish that was true, but most Mormons are not going to be honest about their religion. It's a progressive religion. The deeper in you get, the more they reveal to you. Mormonism is not Christianity, neither is Jehovah's Witness. They're not witnesses of Jehovah. It is a cult. And the Democrats, you cannot reach them with sound thinking. Why? Because they don't have sound thinking. They hide behind college. They hide behind domineering bully tactic media. CNN. Look at Matt Lauer. Oh, Donald Trump is going to win. Yeah, you're not even going to have a journal spot when you get caught for sexual allegations. Bye, Felicia. These people are arrogant, they're mockers, and they're stupid. They're godless. And this country is under godless leadership. The Democrats don't want to make your life better. Look at how offended they got when a kid walks into school with a MAGA hat on. Why does that bother people so much? Why are blacks and others saying that's racist? Making America great again is racist? What is that, the new math? Is that the new intellectual thought process? When people believe lies, you're going to catch hell for believing the truth. They're going to cuss at you. They're going to gnash their teeth. They're going to get on YouTube and go and do the dumb things that they do and think that they're in the right. And because everybody, oh, that's funny, you told them what? That you're retarded? That you didn't come out with any bullet points? You made fun of my hair and my glasses, and that proves your point that violent video games don't lead to criminal behavior? That proves your point? If you're retarded, yes. If your mind doesn't work, yes. Being a bully on the internet, it's the alpha complex. I got all these people laughing at what I'm doing, and that eggs them on to do it more. Oh, that idiot Pacific Ocean Asia. You ever seen him? Beavis and Butthead, South Park, Simpsons. Yeah, that must have been what you grew up on. Okay, I got you. Shit for brains. And I don't care what these clowns think of me. I'm not looking to be friends with them. I'm not looking to be popular like them. Because the one thing I've learned, look at the people that got the largest following. Oprah. Is Oprah going to heaven? Of course not. Don't believe me? Watch the video on YouTube where she's chastising and scolding a Southern woman who says Jesus Christ is the way, the truth, and the life. And guess what? The arrogance and the patronizing tone of Oprah finally shows its ugly head. You see, I've been around enough blacks. You ever notice black women, most of them have a diva complex, even if they're this big and didn't shave all that nasty grunge under there with big, chunky, white chalk marks of deodorant stuck in their pit hairs. They all think they're divas. And I've talked about the feminization of Western women. I was very silent about blacks, but black women have their own problems. A lot of black men that are worth their salt don't want to date them. And I don't blame them. They're home wreckers. They blow through money. They can't pay off their bills. They can't keep their homes clean, at least here where I live. Cockroaches, rats running around. They have a bunch of bad kids that they brought into the world. And most black men use them as a cum dump and move on. And then these same women are standing up, oh, Trump's a racist, whites are privileged. And you keep dating shit for brains black men. Okay, you got a good case there against us, don't you, sweetie? You're on welfare, you're on EBT cards, and you come out with no bra and you forgot to shave the 6 inches of pit hair and you're going to judge our race. Okay, that's cute. It was white people that gave you welfare, by the way. It was white people that designed the light switch and the iPhone and all the stuff you depend on. So if you really want to hate us, if you go to an island with no technology and you guys invent stuff, they can't and they won't. They like to sit here and bitch about America and bitch about whites while they refuse to move to Africa. They refuse to move to Haiti. I mean, come on, people are leaving Haiti. Why don't you go there? You can probably get some cheap real estate. The truth about the black community is evident for all to see, and the only ones that don't see it are liberal blacks and liberal Democrat voters that got their head stuffed so far up their rumpus, it's not even funny. But trolls, they don't argue on intelligence. They're bullies. They were bullies in school. They're bullies on the internet. You know, when you plant a seed in the ground, only what's going to come out of that seed is what the seed was designed for. Was it a pine tree? Was it a tulip? Was it a weed? And when you throw Celine on the ground, what are you going to get? A weed. When you throw Andrew Drescher on the ground, what are you going to get? Thistles. You throw Pandora on the ground, what are you going to get? A thorny, nasty, noxious weed. When you throw Pacific on the ground, what are you going to get? A flawed, broken, dysfunctional individual who's honest with himself and humanity and honest about his faith, who believes that the only reason I exist and the only reason I continue to exist is because God. Only arrogant fools think that there is no God. Only arrogant fools sit here and hound and harass and attack people. And the Democratic Party fosters all of that. Yes, there are bad Republicans. Yes, when we talk about Western women, conservative Christian and Republican women are no better than Democrat liberal women in America. It's like a little yeast causes the bread to rise. Feminism has infected the church. It is infected. Feminism is part of conservative women. Women have been taught in this culture not to submit to men. And how well is America doing with women at the helm and leadership? Pretty poorly. Why did I bring up the trolls from the past? Because sometimes I need to make a statement as I'm a tour to say, you know, I haven't forgotten you. You're blowhards. You're losers. And even if you have a success rate, even if you monetize your channel, it doesn't mean that you're right. It just means you have sheep following you. And that could be said of any one of us on YouTube. We all have followers. A Democrat saying that college is so important and I went to college doesn't mean a damn thing anymore, because when you look at what they're doing in Washington, they're not showing that they've been educated. What they've been showing is the college institution is fraught through with socialist communists and people that want to derail sanity. Case in point, you got to mask up, you got to social distance, except when the riots happen over a loser called George Floyd. And the Democrats were totally silent, including all of Black leadership and so called Black Christians were silent about Blacks and people tearing up America from stem to stern, in some cases, months, like Portland. And by their fruits, you shall know them. And I'm well aware of the complex that is out there. Celine will always laugh and mock. He's not a Christian. He's going to look at me and go, "Ugh." That's all he can do. He's a lost fool. That's it. He's not saved. He's not part of the redeemed. And he will get traction because he'll look at a guy like me and go, "Oh, look at this guy. He calls himself a Christian." And he'll find flaws with any number of things and say that makes his point. It doesn't. The Bible says we're saved by grace. The Bible says if any man says he does not sin, he makes God out to be a liar. Does Celine believe he sins? Probably not. People have this idea that Christians are supposed to be frosted Lucky Charms. They're magically righteous. You cannot get an unbeliever to understand what I'm about to say. Celine ain't going to get it. Drescher ain't going to get it. Pandora, the ecliptic, ain't going to get it. Or acoustic. They're not going to get it. They're lost. The Bible says the natural man, Celine, these guys are natural men. They're godless. They're just men and women. They cannot comprehend the things of God. They are foolishness to them. So in Celine's mind, he's going to look at a guy like me. Look at this retard. And he gets traction because he's goaded by Satan. And the reason I bring that up is Biden is goaded by Satan. Pelosi's goaded by Satan. But what you see that is different between myself and all of who I'm talking about, I'm not sitting on a pile of $1 million in a mansion and telling everybody, you have to get off fossil fuels. You got to save the environment. I'm not telling people that. I talk about my Christian faith, and that angered a lot of my viewers way back years ago. Can you not bring this up? You have good content. So you want me to say what you want to hear only? I would cease to be Pacific. Folks, go do a perusal of the internet. If you're trying to follow God, if you're trying to be real, you're not going to have shiploads of followers. And God made it that way for a reason. The Bible even says God chose the foolish things of this world to confound the wise. And what are unbelievers? They're wise in their own eyes. In their own eyes. They're self-centered. They're going to think that I'm cool. I got a following, Pacific. And they'll get traction. The devil blesses his own because God allows that. And because a guy like Celine can get a following and say dumb things and everybody eats out of his channel's hand, of course they're going to believe him. Does it mean he's right? Does it mean it's based on truth? Of course not. Does anything I say mean that I'm always right and I'm based on truth? Of course not. But most of the time when I'm on this channel and I keep my head clear, I'm speaking truth. I'm making observations. Isn't that the definition of science? Doing something in a controlled environment and making observations, recording the data. That's all I do. And people have a problem with that. When I say that violent video game addiction could lend itself to, I'm tired of the virtual world. Let's go out and do this. We got a lot of violent kids today. We got a lot of kids that are growing up on these violent video games. They're smarting off to mom and they're not doing well in their studies. And maybe they're not going out and shooting, but what I'm trying to say, if you're addicted to violent video games, you're probably not going to care about a quality life. Or you're not going to value others like me. Celine is a danger to me because he's verbally abusive, and his way of dealing with that is coming off as this cocky, bravado, blowhard macho. I can physically work harder than him, and I've already proven the last 4 years I can do way more than this clown can with an army behind him. You can't argue with fools. You stay out of the arena, fools. Fools will always weigh in. Fools will always say stuff about you. There's nothing you can do to stop it. You're either a Christian or you're not. And if you're a Christian, you don't do the things that these trolls do. You don't dox them, harass them, threaten them, hide behind a monitor, refuse to show your face, wear dollar store sunglasses, and have Pillsbury Doughboy cheeks. And you're going to sit here and assault verbally somebody you don't agree with. Obviously, I'm getting to you. So who's the man? Who's the mouse? If I'm such a retard and a fool, why are you giving me all that airspace? Because you got convicted. And you don't know what that term means, but it means that something I said really angered you because you know it's true. And instead of dealing with it, you project. Oh, Pacific Ocean Asia is retarded. John the Baptist told Herod, that woman you're with, that's your brother's wife. Can't do that. Herod didn't order him out of the room. But John the Baptist was thrown into prison for something. And Herod's daughter, Herodias, probably a teen girl, was dancing sensually in front of the king and the king's party that he was having. And don't kid yourself, lust was going on. And it moved them in sensually so much that Herod said, up to half the kingdom, I'll give it to you, daughter. She runs back to mommy. Father said, what do I do? What do I do? Tell him you want the head of John the Baptist on a charger or a platter. That woman was fixated on the truth that John had said. She wants his head sliced off. You think Celine isn't the same? You think Drescher isn't the same? You think Pandora and Incredible Egg and all these ships of fools out there on the internet aren't the same? Truth is offensive. And when you speak the truth, you are going to have hatred, mocking, threats, possible persecution, physical on your life. God told us this. If I'm retarded, how many people give Pandora the eclectic airspace? How many people make channels attacking her? None. Because anybody who has intellectual content looks at her and says, oh my gosh, that's embarrassing. But my own fans talk about her because she wanted to level 3 different videos at me. An idiot named Pacific Ocean. Merry Christmas in Pacific Ocean Asia still sucks. She did not in any video have one thing to say that intellectually won her argument about her hatred for me. She was convicted because she supports lesbians. She was convicted because she's an atheist. She even had a video called Anti-Atheist Christians. And that's cute. I have friends that are atheists. Pandora doesn't have the mental collectivity to power a Flea's motorcycle halfway around the inside of a Cheerio. I'm not saying that to be mean. Listen to her content if you can. It's painful. There was a woman, I don't remember who it was. She said, I don't agree with Pacific, but I can't stop listening to him. Why? Because something about my style and the way I present it pulls people in. That's why. Am I a star out there? Not at all. Am I the big kahuna? No, I'm nothing. But I was a pioneer. And I said it before and I'll say it again. America is not interested in truth. America's not interested in genuine honesty. You hear people say, don't put yourself out there. Don't put yourself out there. Is that what the Bible teaches? I don't think so. Blowhards, fake machismo. That's what defines so called men in America today. Plastic, fake, superficial dominates women in our culture. Fake tone, child directed speech, silly commercials with baby background music, pablum music. Why are you advertising a grocery store with gling, 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 gling at Safeway? And you got some flaky white woman narrating about chips and pot roast and the sales. And you're like, well, you know what? If I want a show and hut piano, I'll go sit in a daycare center and play the tinny tune of a show and hut piano. I'm a grown man. I don't need a commercial that sounds like that. I've heard enough commercials, and one commercial that I see on YouTube that's quality is the male narrating the Biltmore Estates. You can go and see it, do horse riding and stuff like that. That's a quality commercial. But so many commercials are dominated by geeks with spiky gelled hair and their SUVs and edgy chalkboard nails on a chalkboard music to get into debt. And you got to have this. And I look at advertising, and Americans are a product of advertisement. Of course, they're going to hate me. I don't walk lockstep with this world. Christians aren't supposed to. Am I going to lose sleep because Celine Hagbird hates Pacific? When Celine breathes his last, if he doesn't do business with Jesus Christ, all this blowhard stuff, he's going to be isolated in the lake of fire by himself, separated from holy God. He will not be with his friends. He will not have a microphone. He won't have a platform. And he'll probably have the thoughts go through his mind about the things he said to me. And I won't be down there with him. I'll be in heaven. This is what we got to talk about. And I titled this video exactly what I said. Why would people vote for Biden? Because they're in darkness. You got people in this country, they'd rather have riots, high crime, high cost of living, and have the Democrats in control than have a Republican in here, or Trump, or a white man. So when America gets totally over dominated by Democrats, don't be surprised if this place turns into Haiti. Did you hear the Mexicans saying we're going to invade Americans' homes? Get your guns ready, boys. You might have to get a civil war over this. And yes, I support it. These SCUM, BAGS coming from across the border want to break into your home. You have the right to take them out. Absolutely. When our government is not following the law, when our government's not following the Constitution, when your life or your wife or your children are threatened by illegals, yeah, you got a right to take them out. And notice that these asshats in Washington are not allowing the legals to come anywhere near their homes and their gated communities. What we need to do is send all these rabble rousers into their neighborhoods and say, do you like this? Let's watch what happens when they burn your mansions and flip your cars over and rape your wives. I bet you'll change your tune, but no, the Democrats are evil. They want the illegals so they can keep in power. White people, Democrats, filthy rich, mansions, they're not preserving the environment at all. They're quiet about crime while it blows up around us. They don't want you to have the wealth they have. They don't want you to have the house they have. They don't want you to have AC. They don't want you to have a gas stove while they're cooking on gas stoves. Their mansions, they require a semi-truck sized trailer air conditioner unit, they're not subjecting themselves to the danger that they're foisting on us. White liberal Democrats are the most dangerous thing to your health, your safety, your bank account, your security, and your right to home ownership and the right to free speech than anybody else. Anybody that tries to censor you, anybody that tells you they're going to tax the hell out of you while they're sitting on billions of dollars, you got to look at the hypocrisy. White liberals telling us that our race is racist. Go up and check these white liberals, how many black folks and Mexicans they live right next door to. Ask them if they're housing illegals and refugees in their homes. No, no, and no. Look what happened in Martha's Vineyard. Obama has a 40-bedroom mansion, I believe. 50 people came from Venezuela on a flight, compliments of DeSantis. I thought it was brilliant what DeSantis did. Martha's Vineyard wasted no time in getting them out of there within 24 hours. We don't have the resources. I think the Republicans need to get in control and mandate, you clowns that supported all these illegals, you will house them and you will spend your own money to take care of them. And you will help them apply for citizenship. Some idiot judge in America just said that illegals can carry guns. I don't care what anybody says about Pacific. Look at the fruit. Is Celine talking about politics right now? Of course he's not. He's an idiot. One day somebody's going to bum rush his ass and tear him up because that's what the Democratic Party's allowing. And Celine didn't like my freedom of speech and his bullying techniques. It was his way of saying, don't you dare talk about video games or I'll harass you. Bullies, baby bullies, blowhards. Your reaction to my video proves that violent video games is not good. Is not good. Is not good. Anybody voting for Biden now is a fool. Anybody voting for him wants the destruction of our way of life. If you guys want to accelerate the process, you Democrats, go live in Haiti. You want socialism? Go live in North Korea. Go live in China. Go ask Xi Jinping if he'll be your friend. Y'all focus on Putin. I'm going to tell you something. I listened to Putin when he talked to Tucker. Putin has more intellectual prowess, more control of himself than Joe Biden does. Putin has more intellectual ability than all of the Democrats in the U.S. on Capitol Hill combined. Putin knows how to lead his country, whether you agree with him or not. He's an outstanding leader, and he just won overwhelmingly the election again. Biden is an a-hole. Biden is destroying our country. Putin isn't. And I know where Putin stands. Biden is a liar. Biden is filthy rich while he wants to tax the hell out of us. We should tax Biden 75% of his income. You want to go after people? Let's go after the rich fat cats on Capitol Hill. Their mansions should be seized. Their bank accounts should be seized. They're trying to get digital currency. So Biden, if somebody pays you $20, you have to report that if it's digital. Where'd this money come from? My friend gave it to me. Oh, we're going to tax that. I don't like that. So I started this video about trolls, but the trolls in Washington are exactly the same. You see, it doesn't matter. You hear dumb people say, well, all religions are the same. No, they're not. Well, wait a minute. Maybe you are right. All religions are the same. They believe in the same master, the devil. But Christianity is not a religion. What? It's not a religion. It's a relationship with God. You're either saved or you're not. If you're not saved, you do religion. Atheism is a religion. It's the belief in oneself. Takes more faith to believe in evolution than it does in Genesis, the literal account. And I can hear Celine and others do their retard mode to that. The natural man comprehended not the things of God. Celine cannot comprehend things because he doesn't have the Holy Spirit and he's not born again. They do not understand the Bible. They cannot understand it. It is God's book. It is only understandable through the eyes of the Spirit of God opening your eyes. So, of course, Pacific's going to get attacked. Did I do or make mistakes with Maharani and different things? Of course I did. That doesn't down me on the first yard line. It still doesn't negate what I've stated about stuff going on in the world. And you ever notice how non-Christians like to point out a discrepancy in us? But when you confront them of their glaring inconsistencies, they will not admit it at all. That they believe they're sinless. And you know what Jesus had to say about people who think they're sinless? There's a place for them. It's called lakeofire.com. Weeping and gnashing of teeth, where the worm dieth not. Christians are going to suffer now. All this pie in the sky by Joel Osteen. The guy is a devil. He was very angry when we were told, I don't believe God wants people to be poor. Oh, then why are you richer than everybody in your congregation, you hypocrite? Joel Osteen is not a representative of Jesus Christ. He's a self-serving megalomaniac. He's a cotton candy theologian. And I don't believe he was installed in that pulpit by the living God. And dumb sheep get under people like that, and they fail to look at them the same way Democrats fail to look at their leaders. When did you see Nancy Pelosi? What about AOC? She's screaming about the environment. Do you see her living in a teepee? She's from Puerto Rico. Why did she go back there? She hates us, but wait a minute. Kamala Harris and AOC hate whites, but they both married a white guy. You never hear about them because they're simps. AOC's good looking. She's got a nice body on her, and she knows it and flaunts that around and says, other Republicans don't like me because they can't go to bed with me. No, honey. No, honey. They don't like you because when you open your mouth, you show yourself to be a complete jackass. You hire a bartender in Washington politics. Now that's rich. Go shake your tits at the bar and mix drinks. That's what you're good at. But you're going to tell us to get rid of semi-trucks? You're going to tell, I mean, you're dumb. I look at the outfits you buy. Did they come by horse and buggy, dum-dum? When you look at trolls, when you look at Democrats and you look at the way they're living and you look at their response to people like me, they verify everything I've been saying. They don't have to agree with me. It doesn't matter. Their opinion is irrelevant. It goes in the circular file. They're godless, and they're going to reason according to their natural self. They're void of biblical and discerning understanding. Of course, they're going to mock and attack. That's all they know to do. And they will think that they're on the right side of things because all their silly little fans go, that was funny. A Beavis and Butthead have a following, bud. And that's all they are to me. Beavis and Butthead. Anybody that votes for Biden now deserves the barbaric violence that's going to come into our streets very soon. You're not going to be able to afford your cars. You're not going to be able to make it because they don't want you to. So keep opening the seacocks on this great ship and let it sink, because anybody who votes Democrat today is destructive to our country. Any questions?